Hey everybody, it's Richard Silver, and I'm with the Silver Burtnick team in Toronto at Sotheby's International Realty Canada. And today I have as my guest Mr. Kipp, and he's from Seattle, Washington, and he's with Realogics in Sotheby's International Realty. So Realogics, Sotheby's International Realty in Seattle, Washington. Hey Jay.
How are you doing, Richard?
Good. I love that. I love that background. It's amazing. It's a nice loft.
Thank you. This is in Pioneer Square, one of our historic neighborhoods, and
Great.
it is a pretty cool loft. So
I will buy it. I'll move it. So tell whoever's watching a little bit about the market that you normally would look after. I mean, right now we're dealing with coronavirus, but what's your normal market?
So I'd characterize my normal market as all of Greater Seattle.
Yeah.
We're not an expansive metro market area. And I've got experience on both sides of Lake Washington, which kind of divides downtown Seattle and then the suburban east side. So I'm a bit of a generalist in terms of serving all of Greater Seattle.
Okay, great. And so are you essential service right now? Is that what's happened with realtors in now? Was that just recent, or that's been for a while?
So originally we were not classified as an essential service,
Yeah.
but then in what's been a two-step process, restrictions have been eased on real estate brokers and affiliated service providers, whether it's appraisers, movers, photographers, stagers, things like that that are related to transaction. And that's been two amendments to the initial essential service list. So we're back in business.
Yeah.
Albeit with some pretty strict protocol that everyone's trying to adhere to, just so we don't lose that privilege, which is special at this point.
It's pretty amazing how people are forced in a situation like this to be very creative, and to actually all of a sudden keep up with the latest greatest in technology. I think if there's anything good, and there's very little good about this whole situation, I think it is pushing a lot of people to use technology more and to realize that a lot of work can be done virtually. You do not have to go into the office to do your job, and you don't have to meet people face to face.
Yep.
A lot can be done, and closings can happen, and mortgages, etc. So I know Seattle has had, you've had quite a large group of people who've become infected. I'm not sure. Is it, do you find it affecting your healthcare system at all, or?
I have not heard any really distressing stories. Obviously, the Life Care Center in Kirkland, Washington was the first major outbreak that was contained to that single facility. And what happened there is very tragic.
Tell me a little bit about it if you can, just in a nutshell.
Well, so at that point, there were not really advanced, documented, systematic response protocols for COVID-19. And so the response was to quarantine the entire Life Care Center. And, given the close contact, the percentages and the numbers of the overall employees, residents are higher than that national average, because it was so immediate.
Yeah.
But I think our hospitals are doing fine. We've had great responses in terms of medical professionals, and again, just haven't heard anything sensational about a distress on our healthcare system. Yeah.
And you're still, how are you dealing with showings? How are you dealing with offers? Are you still, are you pulling properties off the market, or what are you doing?
I have not pulled a single property, and part of that is due to the fact that we're back in business. But all of our showings are appointment only. Essentially outside of most properties these days, there's a small collection of sanitizing equipment. And the part of our mandate is to only have 2 individuals inside a property at any given time. So while showings are taking a little bit longer, we still do get to have that limited in-person contact. And business is great. I don't know for how long that will continue. But, we've still got folks who are transacting, who plan to be listing their properties in the next 30 days. And I mean, I'm listing one today for seller who wrote an offer on a property yesterday
Yeah.
and was able to secure that
I,
purchase. So
I know originally we were supposed to have this conversation last night, and you were in the middle of two offers. So that's the good news. Usually it's and I myself, we got rid of the contingencies in an offer this week, and so it'll be closing within the next month or so. But it is interesting how do you think there's a backlash because you're still working and other people are not? Do you get a sense of, those terrible realtors, they're just out there, taking advantage or?
good question. At this point, I don't think so. And part of that has been, I think, given the sensitivity that we've approached our business, in people moving is always secondary to something else, whether it's a new job or relocation or
downsizing because
absolutely.
you're not safe in the apartment or whatever.
Yeah. And so folks have made the decision to be moving. Obviously, sheltering in place is an important part of containing the spread of the virus here. And so our strategy just kind of shifted in terms of how to achieve that goal for our clients. But no, everyone is not tone deaf to the fact of what's going on, and so it's been pretty calm.
Yeah, it is. My concern for many others, there's a number of realtors I know who sort of pull back completely and are not doing any showings. They're not trying not to do any business to be respectful. And I always find that in situations like that, and when the market does change, if you don't adapt and you're not out there helping your clients, they'll find somebody else who will help them, and they may not be offering them the same service, or they may, find themselves at the mercy of some sort of bottom feeder.
Yeah.
So it's really important for us to be there more and more as consultants.
Right now, we're focused on really constant daily communication with current clients, so that they stay up to speed in terms of what the regulations and situation on the ground means to them and their transaction. So we're quite focused on a little bit of over communication right now, but also just ensuring that they know we are still working for them.
So when you list a property, do you have any sort of documents that the seller will have to sign or the buyer will have to sign when they're going to the showings that would sort of deal with the responsibility?
Yeah, not related to specific showing protocol. Most of those are covered with the governor's mandates. And the governor's mandate does outline specific protocols. For example, the two people in a property. All showings must be made by appointment. Those guidelines were drafted by the healthcare professionals, and so as agents, we're relying upon those. When it comes to a purchase and sale agreement, I think like many MLSs and brokerages around the world, we've established essentially a force majeure contingency that should an unforeseen event happen,
I think,
contract can be managed.
It's going to be a tough few months, but I think we're going to get through this, and hopefully it will pass, and we'll be able to meet face to face rather than on Zoom.
Yeah.
Anyways, again, I want to thank you. It's Jay Kipp, and he's with Realogics. If anybody is moving out to the Seattle area, Jay's the man to call. He's our guy in Seattle. So thanks again for sharing your time with us this afternoon. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Always great to see you.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks again, Jay.